Imagine a place so remote, so hidden away, that it feels like you've stepped back in time. A place where the trees seem to whisper secrets, and the air feels thick with something sinister. This is the story of a cabin deep in the woods, a place that holds more than just the memories of those who built it. It's a place where nature's dark side comes alive, a cursed cabin that has witnessed more tragedy than any place should. And those who have ventured there have never been the same. It all started in the late 1800s. A family, the Thompsons, decided to leave the bustling city life behind and start anew in the wilderness. They wanted a simple life, away from the noise and the crowds. So they built a cabin, deep in the woods, where they could live off the land. The cabin was small, but sturdy, built with love, sweat, and dreams of a peaceful life. But from the moment they moved in, things were off. The first sign was the animals. The forest was usually alive with the sounds of birds and wildlife, but as soon as the Thompsons moved in, the forest fell silent. At night, the family would hear strange noises, branches snapping, low growls, and the faint sound of footsteps circling the cabin. They dismissed it as the natural sounds of the forest, but deep down they felt a growing unease. Then came the accidents. Small at first, a cut here, a sprained ankle there, but soon they escalated. The father, John, nearly lost his hand while chopping wood. The mother, Mary, fell ill with a fever that no doctor could explain, and their youngest child, Emily, began to have night terrors, waking up screaming about the man in the woods. The family started to unravel. John became obsessed with the idea that they weren't alone in the forest, that something was watching them. He set traps, stayed up all night with a rifle in his hands, but whatever it was, if it was anything at all, stayed out of sight. As the months passed, the tension in the cabin grew unbearable. The family was sleep-deprived, on edge, and terrified of the woods that surrounded them. They began to argue, turning on each other in their fear. And then, one night, something happened that changed everything. It was a cold winter night, the kind where the wind howls through the trees like a living thing. The family was huddled around the fire, trying to keep warm, when they heard it, a knock at the door. It was slow, deliberate, and it sent chills down their spines. John, clutching his rifle, slowly approached the door. He hesitated, but then he heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. He threw open the door, ready to confront whoever, or whatever, was outside. But there was nothing, just the dark, empty woods. He stepped outside, the snow crunching under his boots, and called out into the night. His voice echoed through the trees, but there was no response. And then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw it. A figure, standing just at the edge of the trees, barely visible in the dim light. It was tall, impossibly tall, with long arms that hung at its sides. Its face was obscured by shadows, but John could feel its eyes on him, watching. He raised his rifle, but before he could fire, the figure disappeared, melting into the darkness as if it had never been there. Shaken, John retreated inside, locking the door behind him. He told his family what he had seen, but they didn't believe him. Or rather, they didn't want to believe him. But they couldn't deny that something was terribly wrong. They decided that night that they would leave the cabin in the morning, no matter what. But by morning, it was too late. When the sun rose, it revealed a scene of horror. The cabin door was wide open, snow blowing in through the entryway. John was found on the floor, his rifle by his side, his face frozen in a look of terror. Mary and the children were gone. No trace of them was ever found. The cabin was abandoned after that, left to decay in the woods. Over the years, people who stumbled upon it would tell stories of strange sounds and shadowy figures, of a presence that seemed to linger just out of sight. Some say the Thompsons never left, that their spirits are trapped there, doomed to relive that terrible night over and over again. Others believe the cabin itself is cursed, that it's a place where the veil between this world and the next is thin, where dark forces can slip through. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: those who visit the cabin never leave the same. So, the next time you're out in the woods and you come across an old, forgotten cabin, remember this story. Remember the Thompsons and the cursed cabin they called home. And ask yourself, do you really want to step inside? Thanks for watching this chilling story on the cursed cabin. If you enjoyed this tale, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories from the dark side of nature. And remember, the world is full of places where the past lingers, sometimes too close for comfort. Stay safe and see you in the next video.